Hey guys, Cameron here, and today I'll be reviewing Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs essentially is True Crime 3. It still has the features of True Crime, such as the gunplay, the weapon, the unarmed combat, but it's changed a lot. It obviously the name is no longer True Crime. It's Sleeping Dogs. It's not being made by people who have made True Crime. It's transferred hands to Square Enix. And it is not as thrilling. If you remember, if you've played True Crime, Streets of LA or New York City, they both have like 15 different endings you can get. Sleeping Dogs didn't go for that. Sleeping Dogs only has one ending, and it's set no matter how high your triad or cop or face score is. So it was kind of disappointing, but it's kind of logical in a way because this is Square Enix's first attempt at making the kind of true crime game, so they needed something to base their thing on. Sleeping Dogs takes place in Hong Kong. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop who has infiltrated the Sun On Yee triad gang in attempts to bring it down from the inside. It gets a lot more complicated when he actually starts to think and starts to become attached to the people in the Sun On Yee, especially his best friend Jackie. So the whole game is kind of a conflict between his cop morals and his loyalty to the gang, because things go wrong and he ends up actually getting sworn in and things like that. So without trying to do it without spoilers here, it's a very deep, dark game. Not as dark as some games that are set in Mafia kind of things, such as Mafia 2 and Max Payne. They were really dark and disturbing. This game does have a dark feature to it, but not as dark as those games. So if you're looking for a dark game, probably pick this game up, give it a go. But otherwise, you can move on to more dark games if you want a memorable experience when being in this game. Now there are a few memorable cutscenes, and some of the missions are a bit predictable. For example, a funeral of one of the leaders is kind of predictable. You can kind of tell it's going to get crashed by the rival gang. It wasn't really a surprise when it actually happened, so it was kind of a bit of a disappointment, but you know, things like this happen in games. The gameplay itself is fun. There's 3 key components that you'll be doing throughout the game: shooting, fistfights, and free running. Shooting works like any shooter. It's stay in cover, pop up, shoot, move up. Except to move up, you can actually activate a slow motion feature when you vault over cover. And if you zoom in, to keep the slow motion going, you need to attain headshots, and it'll extend the slow motion time, which is a cool little feature. Once you get the hang of it, you can take down whole groups of enemies in one set of slow motion. There's different weapons you can use. You can go from pistols to submachine guns to assault rifles, shotguns. It's really up to you on what you do. And upgrading these, you can't upgrade weapons specifically, but you can get different weapons the higher up you are in your cop or triad score. Hand-to-hand combat flows very similar to the Batman Arkham City game. It's mainly spamming the X and Y button, B to grab, and there'll be different classes of enemies. So there'll be some enemies that you can't hit unless you grab them. There'll be some enemies that you can't grab. There'll be enemies with weapons. It kind of gives it a feel, but it kind of gets a bit repetitive after a while, because you're doing the same things over and over in the fights. So it is fun though. Like once you get the hang of it, you kind of feel really boss when you take down a whole group of enemies doing all this martial arts kind of moves. The free running is a large component. When you're chasing people through alleys, you'll be vaulting over covers, sliding through night markets. You'll be doing all these kind of cool things that you only see in the action films, and you can tell that this game's taken a lot from action films. Like, you've got the action hijack, where your character will jump from one car to another in order to hijack it, which has obviously had influences from the game Wheelman. You've got, like I said, the slow motion and all that, and the story itself was very action movie like. So it's like an action movie in a game. you'll be constantly leveling up your character with cop points, triad points. Now you attain these points by doing certain things in missions. Each mission will give you a certain amount of cop and triad points, and it's kind of up to you to decide in missions how you want to play. If you want to go in the mission and run down every civilian on the sidewalk, then you're not going to get very many cop points, because every time you damage property you lose cop points, and this can get quite irritating in some missions where you're driving through street markets and it's kind of like the game wants you to lose points. It kind of gets irritating. Triad points, however, are very easy to attain, because all you got to do is kill everybody and you'll be happy. Upgrading each of these sections have their perks. You can get anything from better weapons to longer slow motion time when you vault cover and stuff like that. Overall, the game takes about 6 hours to complete. That's without the collectibles, but doing the girlfriend missions will actually unlock the collectibles on your map, so it's kind of not really a challenge to get any of the collectibles at all. Or you could probably 100% the game within 12 hours. It's not that hard at all. Thanks for watching, guys. That's really all I can say about Sleeping Dogs. If you want to play it, go ahead. It is a memorable experience. I would definitely recommend it if you're into those kind of Jackie Chan action movies. Go nuts. Have fun.